Guys, VisiPay.com is doing 1.5 million a month right now, or 18 million on average. This is talking last year's numbers. He's thinking they'll do about 27 million this year. He helps over 10,000 local bars, restaurants, auto repair shops in rural America process credit cards faster. He gives away a $2,000 POS system if they ask for it. They then run their math. He's taking on average 58 cents per transaction. Did almost 60 million transactions last month. And the best part about this, he's done all of this completely bootstrapped with his team of 130 folks out there in Iowa. Hey, folks, my guest today is Austin McNamby. He's a CEO, co-founder, and executive leader of VisiPay, a West Des Moines, Iowa-based provider of payment technology solutions for businesses all across the U.S. He's been in this role since April 2017 when he co-founded the company. Austin, you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely. Let's roll.
All right. So what kind? It's rare you hear about a fintech company in Iowa. Usually it's like New York, Miami, San Francisco. How'd you get into this space?
Well, Iowa, we do have airports and, paved roads. So we're a real deal. I actually got into space about, 18, 19 years ago. I've been in this space since my whole adult life. I'm 38 now. So I've been doing it for a while. Probably one of the best spaces to be in, and probably the most, initially people didn't know a lot about the industry itself, payments, fintech, and obviously it's becoming more dominant now as you see the bigger companies arise.
Well, so Austin, give me an example of a company that's using you and how they use you.
Well, we focus on rural America. So we don't focus on big towns like Chicago, San Francisco, Dallas, all these other areas. We focus on mom and pop shops in rural America. So, take Johnny's Auto Repair in Atlantic, Iowa, just as a
Is that a real one?
place. Probably not. I'm just using a
Okay.
default name. I don't want to use clients' names. Let them, let me know. But let's say Johnny's Auto Repair shop in Atlantic, Iowa. That individual. Believe it or not, we could put people on the moon today, but these individuals have dial-up internet still in some of these rural areas throughout the United States, which is sometimes depressing to see. So that's why we're kind of really focused on rural America, because we believe technology is passing them by. And they're passing them by these big companies that have to answer to stockholders, et cetera. They want to be in the big towns where there's more processing volume, there's more transactions, and more population. While these smaller rural towns in America are being underserved. Technology is passing them by. And then when they want to level up, the technology is way too robust and way too costly with too many long-term contracts. Therefore, they resist. So they're always stuck kind of in that middle, right? So how do we level them up and get them to the playing field with, simplistic technology that gets them to the next step, evolution-wise, when it comes down to cashless society? May not be in our lifetime, but eventually could be. How do we get them to the next step so they're not left behind?
Austin, let's use a real example here. Proletariat, which you talk about on your website, so I know we can talk about them, as a local bar in Perry, Iowa. They're one of your guys' customers, right? So are you replacing Toast and Square? You're doing a hardware play also, or is it just the behind the scenes, how to process the restaurant, the new bar order, things like that?
It's a little bit of both. So since you mentioned that, place, I know exactly that place. I've been there. But we place a POS system in there to help their business run more efficient, within the organization, and without the high costs of other competitors that are out there that you mentioned.
What does that cost, Austin, for the proletariat? Do they have to buy the POS, or do you subsidize that if they use your software on the back end?
Well, in our situation, we have an equipment placement program. So based on volume, et cetera, that we will place it there at no cost to them. So we're contributing $2,000-$3,000 worth of equipment, to their doorstep, and we give them options to basically eliminate what they pay for accepting credit cards, and give them options to do that through the technology and through the POS we place at their location.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free, by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right. So the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise. They sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. Wow, anyone want to get into this space? It's hard to pay 2 to 3K to install the POSs for free. So how did you get to the point where you could do that? Did you raise a bunch of equity dollars to subsidize that, or how did you do that on day one?
Well, we've been around 6 years coming up in April. We bootstrapped this whole company from the ground up. I was door to door 6 years ago, and here I am today. We have 130 employees, and we have
You're still
hundreds of
bootstrapped?
agents that sell for us. We're still bootstrapped, not $1 from outside money.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and so our play is slower because the markets we're in. So we grow slower. So it took a while before we could offer things like that, but doesn't mean we didn't utilize other technologies that were out there to help them level up and give them the options to eliminate what they pay for processing, et cetera. But now we're kind of in a position that we can help more. And why not? When someone that might not have 2K laying around, we can work with them to get that in their location, make them more efficient, save them the processing fees, and lead them in the right direction of where they need to be instead of be stuck with us. And here's a bunch of
Yep.
money to spend. And by the way, if we do give it to you for free, you're stuck in a 4-year term and it's $20,000 to cancel. It's a nightmare for these guys, and they're scared, and they should
But
be
what is
because
your
they don't know
contract
what they
like?
don't know.
What is your contract? You can't give away a 2,000 piece of equipment without locking them for some period of time, right?
So we have three options. If you buy the piece of equipment, everything's month to month here.
Okay.
If you decide to buy it upfront, it's month to month. If you decide to do a payment plan, because we do interest-free payment plans for our clients, if they want to buy that, that's also month to month. But if they want us to contribute $2, $3, $4,000 to their location, we do ask for a 36-month term. But the kicker to it is all we're asking for in return is the equipment back and half the retail cost that we contributed, and done. While most companies will say, hey, by the way, you're going to owe us 15, 20, $25,000 to cancel because that's the profit we would have made on your account. Therefore, you're going to pay us what we're going to lose if you leave early. And that's probably the bigger names you just mentioned. So,
Yep. That's great. I can see why Proletariat would love a model like that. Way more flexibility. I clearly see the focus, obviously, on rural America. I guess before we move on from the hardware thing, help me understand how like the operation size on this. I mean, do you have 1,000 POSs out there today, or 10,000, or a million? How many pieces of hardware do you have out in the world today?
we have a little bit over 10,000 clients across the United States, but that doesn't count maybe like the hardware because some locations have 2 or 3 pieces at their location, right?
Okay.
So if you just did a baseline of 10,000, cool, but you could probably add 10%, 15% more to that for additional pieces of equipment. Because there's always not just those POS systems with like a smart screen. Sometimes it's a basic smart terminal because they don't need something maybe even that robust. So
Yeah, that's a big expense. I mean, so let's say 10,000 clients, they have 2 POSs per locate, like in the location, right? So that's 20,000 POSs at 2 grand a pop. I mean, that's $40 million of hardware expense right there. How did you come up with 40 million? Are you really profitable? Where do you get 40 million bucks bootstrapped?
Um, well, remember, there's two types, right? There's the POS systems that cost 2 to 3,000, right? And then there's basic smart terminals that are a couple $100.
Oh, I
About
see.
90%, or a little bit about 90% of our clientele don't need a POS system that's 2 or 3,000. It's mainly for restaurants and bars and retail locations that have a lot of inventory. But a lot of them are they just need basic terminals that level them up from the good old days of the 2006 or four when I came in the industry. we're trying to get them to a smart terminal, actually a smart terminal screen, kind of like an Apple phone, etc. But that's substantially less money
Yeah, so this is
that we
like
provide for
PAX
free.
technology, the PAX A80, the Deja Vu, those kinds of devices, which you don't manufacture and charge 2K for. Those are third-party providers you've partnered with.
Yep, and then we also offer those for. Usually, we offer those at no cost as well. No, don't get me wrong; that has added up over the years to be a lot of money, and so millions of dollars. But that is based on us slowly but surely kind of ramping up over the last 6 years. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This is really interesting. Now, you've mentioned no fees and stuff. You've mentioned you give away the hardware for free if they sign up for a 36-month term. But Austin, how the heck do you make money? What's the revenue model?
well, it's easy. So owners aren't accountants, right? Most of the ones we deal with, they're not rural America. They're rural America. They don't have big CFOs. They don't have people looking over their shoulder every 5 minutes to tell them where rates and fees can be. So it's unpredictable. So what we did was we found a way that's not unpredictable that allows them to get ahead of the game instead of stay behind the game, and then actually include processing fees into their pricing instead of like, for example, think about like cell phone bill, light bill, labor. That's all in their pricing of cost, right? They don't sell it to you and I for cost. They sell it to you and I with a profit on top of, right? So for many years, most places don't include the processing fees into their pricing, and then they leverage the technology that we have to basically isolate that and remove it every single transaction. But we make sure that it's high enough for these individuals that they don't ever have to come back to we don't have to come back to the well again and say, hey, by the way, we have to raise rates. We have to do this now. We
Well,
actually
Austin, what
include
is
it
the
up to
rate? Like, let's just
4%.
make it so like everyone listening can understand this. Let's say they buy a $5 beer at Proletariat, right? What does VisiPay make on a $5 beer sold at Proletariat?
So I can just tell you the number. I mean, we make about 58 cents per transaction across the United States. So on
Oh,
average,
interesting.
we make about 58 cents per transaction. And depending on program, because there's also programs that they don't want to eliminate their fees and they want to pay it. They want to be like the good old school way. And that's less profitable for us and less savings for them. But that is an option that they decided to use sometimes over including it into their pricing because they
There's
don't want
no
to change
rev
pricing.
share then. It's just a flat 58-cent fee for the $5 beer.
Yeah, so yeah, we don't do any rev share with the small business owner. I'm just telling you on our end, on our profit, it's about 58 to 60 cents per transaction we make, out of the millions of transactions we do a month across the United States. And there's more to that, obviously, but we don't have enough time to probably go through the details of how that works.
But it's not a percent. You Proletariat, when they're signing up for this, they're not saying I'm agreeing to 36-month thing where every dollar we process through your thing, you get to keep a 5% cut. There's not a rev share. It's a flat 58-cent fee on average.
Well, it's not. So we're not charging them 58 cents on average. We're making that across the board because everything's based on like high tickets and interchange costs. Interchange costs is something that everyone pays, including big guys like Walmart. Guys like small business owner, rural America. The cost of cards of acceptance. That's a baseline. So that's sometimes anywhere between 1.8 to 2.5%. So we're profiting on top of that number. So for example, let's say a card comes in and the cost was 2.9, let's say round up to 3%, it's an American Express card, but we're including the processing fees and the pricing at 4%, so therefore we're making that difference, right? That's how our company makes money
I see.
throughout
I
that
see.
process.
So you'll
Now,
charge on a dollar.
yeah,
Let's make it easy math. On a dollar beer, right? Interchange or Amex might take 3 cents. You're going to charge Proletariat, or whoever it is, 4 cents. So you make a cent on that transaction for a
correct,
dollar. And
correct.
then
In a
the
nutshell,
reason,
yep, yep,
in a
and that's that
nutshell,
way.
yeah. So the reason you're able to give me the 58-cent number is because you're taking the average transaction value across all of your clients per month
Correct.
and millions of transactions, and it comes out to like an average. What is that? What's the average ticket size? It's gonna be like $35, 40, $50, something like that.
Well, about 25, $35 across the board. And
Interesting.
that's taking all our programs encompassing. So that's the program that I just mentioned to you is our cash discount 2.0. We have surcharging as well. That's legal in most states now. That, cost of the credit card when you walk in, they upcharge at the register. And then you have regular basic interchange plus cost, which is cost plus our pricing. That's our markup. So on interchange plus pricing, we make substantially less.
Mm.
Cash discount, we make substantially more, but they save more. And in the middle, surcharging, we make in the middle of those two. So that's why it's an average across. Because some places are a lot more, and some places we make substantially less. depending on the programs that they choose, but we give them the options to make the best decisions for their organization, not ours.
Like
And
they
that's
might
what
say
I think they're
we
missing
don't
out on.
accept Amex, for example.
Yeah, we don't say MS, and you know what? I don't want to go raise 2,000 of my SKU items and include the processing fees in my pricing and use your
Yeah.
technology to isolate it. Screw that. I'm gonna do something different. It's easier for us, and then they'll choose another program, and that's on their choice, not ours, and it shouldn't be our
Yep.
choice.
Yep. Yeah. That's very cool. Okay. I want to put this on a timeline real quick. So you launched, you said 6 years ago, I think. So that mean 2017 you got going?
In April 2020, April 2017, correct?
That's amazing. Okay. Do you remember the first restaurant or the first real like business you signed up? How did you get that first customer?
Yeah, actually, I do. I'm the one that signed them up. I actually went door to door, like any sales individual would, to sign deals up because that's we at that point we had. I mean, we basically had nothing. And it was actually an auto repair shop on Second Avenue in Des Moines, Iowa. And I walked in, and I've been teaching sales reps to do this business for years in my previous company. So I just used tactics that I've known and I've learned, I've done myself. Went in and did a proposal for that auto repair shop. I mean, I remember at first he acted like an employee the whole time, not the owner, of course, until I started talking and talking, and eventually he said, "Okay, I'm the owner." He opened the door, talked to me about it. I did a proposal for him, showcased to him where we could be different than where this other provider is. He signed up, and as of today, he is still a client of ours on Second Avenue. So,
That's amazing. Okay. So that's your first customer. I guess fast forward to today. What's the total transaction volume you processed over the past 30 days?
well, this year, so it's unique because it changes depending on weather, like wintertime, slower, marinas aren't open, et cetera. We have a lot of deals throughout the Midwest. But this year we should process well over $2 billion of processing volume.
Wow.
So it's hard to use this last month because we just came out of a holiday. But it's crazy because the first 4 years that we started, we didn't even do 2 billion collectively until the fourth year.
Hmm.
This year alone, which is going into the sixth year, we'll do well over 2 billion in this one year,
Yeah.
which is exciting for us to see because it took us that long to get there. Now we can do those things in 1 year and actually more than that. So,
And what was total last year processing volume?
processing volume last year was close to 1.7, 1.8 billion that we
Okay.
processed. So this year we'll do well over 2 billion.
That's
So I would say closer to three or more, but I'm just again projections as of this point.
that's wild. So 1.7 billion in volume at $30 a pop. That means you processed almost like 57 million credit card swipes across 10,000 installed customers. Is that about right? 57,000 million customer swipes?
Oh, wait, you're probably very close to 60, I think it was. But
Wow.
it's crazy because when we first started in 2017, it's crazy. We made, our revenue that year was $96,000. In 2021 it was 12.7 million. This last past year was close to 18 million, and this year we're projected to do close to 30 million and growing. And that's all bootstrap. Now, I think we've shown the process works, and we've shown what we've done is works, and we're building out technology today with our fintech team. So we're doing unique things. We just happen to be growing slower because we're not focused on big markets where their average transaction in a month, volume wise, is almost twice as what we get in rural America because we're in a non-aggressively populated areas that like big dogs are like Toast and all those guys. So.
No, it's incredible. So just to repeat those numbers back to you, last year you did 18 million, right? The year before that you did 12.7 million. And what did you do in 2020?
I said 2017 we did 97,000. I'm saying back when we first started, I was just kind of give you kind of I
I
fast forward a little
see.
bit for you, but
I
yeah,
see.
yeah. I
Okay.
mean, so the
And
first year we thought 97,000 was dope. So
yeah. And what do you think you'll do this year? 30?
I think we'll be close to 27 to 30, depending on how
27.
the sales force goes with our hiring blitz we just had. So
That's awesome. Okay, what a great story. Let's, I guess, how did you go from that auto repair shop to 10,000 customers? Is it still, do you require reps to go door knocking? How are you growing today?
yeah, we have three pillars, and so kind of break it down real quick for you at a high level. We have our account manager channel, which is our W-2 sales force that is focused on rural America, and we have our 1099 independent contractor sales force that they don't work for us. They're non-exclusive. They can work for any company in the United States, and our goal is to teach them the space and work for us. And they focus again on rural America, and those guys are boots on the ground, face to face, which I think rural America lacks. And then we obviously have the channel. We have a lot of marketing. We're very big in social media marketing. We have an inside sales channel. that we work with clients across America to help them out. Just because maybe we can't have a boots on the ground because we don't have obviously a body in every small city in the world, and the United States, excuse me. So we have to be able to help them out as well through our inside sales channel. So we have 3 separate channels, and including the kind of a silent channel, which is our fintech, which we're building out technologies that will eventually have SaaS fees attached to them based on what the client needs, kind of a la carte, which we're launching in the next couple months. So
This is fascinating. So, Austin, talk about how powerful you feel because you don't have a board and you can make quick decisions and you haven't raised 100 million bucks in VC. What does that allow you to do?
It's crazy that you mentioned that because I watched that happen in my career with organizations I was part of, and I just remember that feeling of culture diminishing very quickly. And then basically, you can almost feel like power being taken away from the people and even the leaders. And I didn't want that feeling. So I said, proof of concept is where we're going to have to start. So if we ever look at that, it's our way. It's not someone else's way. And that's if we ever look at it down the road. And do I feel powerful? I mean, we're in a big space, excuse my language, but I think, we're bitches compared to these big dogs, right?
Mhm.
They got a lot more money and a lot more manpower and a lot more, people. But what we do have is we're like a speedboat. We could pivot at any moment. These guys are like the Titanic, man. If they're pivoting, they got to watch out for icebergs and they can't go quick enough. So ours is a janitor to CEO thought process of what we focus on, which is culture first, transparency and being the voice for small business owners. And believe it or not, we have a mindset that's different than probably what stockholders would want if we did have P money, which is our clients aren't number one. Believe it or not, they're not number one. And by the way, they're not always right either. Our number one person that we focus on is company culture, the people that are within our organization. So we have 63% minorities, 27% women, and over 95% of our staff come from outside the payment space. And I did that on purpose, knowing that it takes 6 to 9 months to train them, but at least they could do it the right way. Our industry is full of, it's just a fucking nightmare, our industry in general, of taking advantage of people. And I just don't want to be a part of that anymore. I was part of the problem for a lot of my career, being naive and not knowing. And I learned it and I wanted to get out of it. And now I want to do it differently. And that allows us to have that power factor, like you mentioned. Now, do I feel powerful compared to the big dogs that can crush us financially and body wise? Well, no, we're babies. Do I feel powerful on the vision and what we could put first and how we want to roll with our company when it comes on our group buying into what we are and what we stand for? Absolutely, I feel powerful.
That's awesome. Well, Austin, before we wrap up, obviously you're in a very good position, especially in a recession. Your VC-backed competitors are reeling right now, doing layoffs, losing customers like crazy. Do you take advantage of this anyway? Do you go buy a bunch of your VC-backed competitors? How do you take advantage of a recession? Because you've done such a good job being healthy in terms of unit economics.
Well, the crazy thing is, with this industry, if it's a recession or good or not a recession, everyone uses a credit card. So today, if people don't have money, they're using a credit card. They're going in debt, unfortunately, but they're still using it to survive. And if they have a lot of money and they don't have debt, they're using credit cards for their points. So either way, we're always going to see, credit cards being used. And as they're doing these layoffs, et cetera, we're actually moving people to Iowa. I just moved, I moved people from Florida, from, California. I moved people from Mexico before. I moved people from other parts of the state to Waukee, Iowa. And people are buying into that, and they're okay with it. Cost of living is fair. You don't have to go to Silicon Valley where cost of living skyrocket. We don't have to have as much money as them either because the cost of living here is substantially cheaper. So it allowed us to bootstrap this and do it in Iowa, and it probably saved us, a lot of money and time because we were in Iowa doing it.
No, it makes tons of sense. Listen, it's a heck of a story. We're out of time today, though. Let's wrap up with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite book?
Everyone asks me that question. I don't have a favorite book. My favorite book
Okay.
is the one I'm writing every day.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I think I follow a lot of individuals out there that I look at. I wouldn't say there's one specific that stands out, but I usually follow a lot within our industry or outside. But there's not
No,
one favorite.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building VisiPay?
LinkedIn, believe it or not, the most underused tool in the world, I think, and we use it to the tilt.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Saas. That's a great question too. 7 hours. I wake up at 6
All
every
right.
morning. I usually get to bed. Yeah, plus 7.
And I saw a wedding ring on, so I'm going to assume married, but married, single, kids, what's your situation?
Married to my wife for almost 20 years. 3 kids, 17, 14, and 12. So
Wow. And how old are you?
I am 38.
38. All right. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
I wish I understood what empathy really meant when I was 20.
Mhm.
I
Guys,
think I learned a lot more now growing this organization.
Guys, VisiPay.com is doing 1.5 million a month right now, or 18 million on average. This is talking last year's numbers. He's thinking they'll do about 27 million this year. He helps over 10,000 local bars, restaurants, auto repair shops in rural America process credit cards faster. He gives away a $2,000 POS system if they ask for it. They then run their math. He's taking on average 58 cents per transaction. Did almost 60 million transactions last month. And the best part about this, he's done all of this completely bootstrapped with his team of 130 folks out there in Iowa. Austin, thank you for taking us to the top.
All right. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, three hungry buyers. They try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them, and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.